Dune 2, a follow-up to Denis Villeneuve's initial blockbuster Dune, tells the story of the rise of Paul Atreides, the only heir to the fallen House Atreides on the planet by the name of Arrakis, or, as its natives the Fremen call it, Dune.
It's a wonderful movie that incorporates the state-of-the-art cinematic technology of IMAX that amplifies Denis Villeneuve's newest masterpiece. However, there's still a lot of other things on top of that to talk about.
So, we liked how the film pays close attention to detail, such as ambience, color palettes, the various landscapes in the film, and overall the visual effects, such as including a black and white scene for Feyd-Rautha Harkonnen's entrance. Villeneuve really uses these techniques to show the evocative and cinematic power of the Fremen, with sandworms and the way of nature, and with the Harkonnen in the arena scene.
Compared with the colorful world of Arrakis, which is mellow sunsets and sandy deserts, the Harkonnen arena scene reveals the stark, eerie, and powerful presence of its owners. When you watch the scene, you feel as though you're watching Dracula, a vampire, of piercing eyes, protruding veins, and a thirst for blood. It drains really the color from their world because that's really what their world is. Colorless, cruel, and cold.
People have compared this film to the Lord of the Rings trilogy in terms of visual effects and backgrounds. However, we will say that this movie was close, but not quite. There were certainly a few imperfections in this piece.
Yeah, I think to compare the film to the Lord of the Rings, I think it's quite of a stretch. Because while the film is great after all, it's one of the best I've seen in a while, but I think there were just some imperfections. One of which was that the showdown between the Freeman and the Emperor was too anticlimactic. The scene was shown where Paul's forces had to attack an enormous defense system that protects the Emperor of the Galaxy at Arrakeen, the capital of Arrakis. And the defensive forces of the Emperor, attacked by Godzilla-sized worms and the sandstorm they brought about, showed next to no resistance, which allowed the Fremen to roll over them in the breeze and hold the Emperor hostage within mere minutes. The Emperor we're talking about.
Perhaps three more loss and predicaments for the Fremen in attacking would have been more ideal to build up the tension instead of a quick landslide victory. It was an Emperor of the Galaxy, after all.
This high-budget blockbuster features an amazing cast comprising of Timothee Chalamet, Zendaya, Pugh, and just to name a few. The film used the most advanced film technology, and because of that, the movie can only be watched using IMAX. A lot of money went into this film, which is what I especially like about productions done by big-name directors such as Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan, is that they're not afraid to pour into big bucks.
Yep, and we see that money being put to good use as well. And we see that particularly reflected with the CGI components to me. By looking at the sandstorms and the giant sandworms in this movie, as well as the giant ships in the sky, these large and opulent structures on various planets, we know that a lot of CGI has gone into producing the movie. But our visual experience, the wonderful thing with that, is that it wasn't really impeded by such a high level of CGI use. And I think the usage of CGI wasn't really that noticeable. With so much CGI in the movie, there would be usually some obvious visual indicators of that use. But in Dune 2, that wasn't the case. I think the CGI was really realistic, and it really helped us to transport ourselves into the sci-fi and desertish atmosphere of Arrakis, without the feeling of visual awkwardness that such a usage of CGI would usually bring.
Yeah, in other words, I think the fact that we're not really noticing the effect of CGI is really indicative of how great this movie is, I think, how great this film is.
It's really impressive. Yeah.
But however, I think it's really worthy bringing up to attention Timothee Chalamet's role in the movie, because in the movie he plays the main protagonist, Paul Atreides, and so there's a lot of mixed opinions going around for Timothee Chalamet's role in this movie, and especially how he fits with this role. So what do you think about his role?
Yeah, I think for Paul Atreides, he has done a good job of just acting the leadership aura of Paul Atreides out, right? He spoke resolute. I think the way he spoke, the way he acted, and the way he just posture-wise acted was very good in capturing the essence of Atreides' character. But I think his build, on the other hand, is a different subject.
And let's keep in mind, this is a guy who spent most of his career until now acting in a genre of romance and family. For example, Wonka, that was released very recently. And so it's the fact that we kind of relate him to these films is that we can't really see him in a different light. That is kind of the sentiment that has been going around.
Like, for example, when you see like a friend in class who always fools around and you see him doing a presentation, right? Usually you just can't take him seriously. You laugh at what he says, even though it's if it was a different person who doesn't mess around so much, you wouldn't have laughed. That's the kind of like thing that's going on.
Yeah, don't get us wrong. Timothee Chalamet has done a phenomenal job with this film. He's shown to us that he's been able to play these roles where he hasn't.
To me, I think in that of the acting itself, it was wonderful. I think he deserves the praise that he has been getting, and the controversy, there is a basis for it, but I think it's interesting to see nevertheless Chalamet in a different light, a different light from the movies that we have seen recently.
And so this film has a shot of being Denis Villeneuve's magnum opus. It's a breathtaking film that immerses you in the fictional world of Dune. Along with a fantastic score from Hans Zimmer, this film transforms the classic novels of Dune into a stunning visual experience that captures the essence of Frank Herbert's epic saga.